Hey there, everyone. This is Yui. Welcome to episode number 6 of Antimatter Chemistry. Today we have a lot to cover, but most importantly, we're finally getting our Smeltery. So let's jump into it, because I don't know how long this is going to be. So if you're like me, then shame on you, because I enjoy a massive amount of grinding. And when I say massive amount, that might be an understatement. So let's pick somewhere and start. We're gonna start with getting the smeltery going. So in between episodes, I went mining in the deep dark dimension, picked up a bunch of ores. So we're good for a little bit on that. Oh, more recipes. And we get a disc. I went ahead and I made another disc in between episodes also because I was running out of storage room. But now we got quite a bit more. Alright. I just want to get to this smeltery so bad. It has been everything moving on in this quest book, it seems, requires these gears. And they took out the normal recipe for gears. Usually you can craft 4 ingots and, well, either 4 ingots or 4 ingots and a iron ingot and get a gear, but you have to cast them out, or you can use the compactor, which we're not ready for yet, so we need to go the construct route, which means we need clay, we need copper. Actually, I might have some, only a little, but that's enough. And then it should be tin. Okay, so one thing you'll notice is we don't have a nice way to ore double yet without the smeltery, except we can with the dissolver. And some of the ores, I know iron does. You hit uses on that, you'll get slightly extra resources on top of doubling it, because you only need 16 chemicals to make an ingot, but you get 32 from the ore. So we need just a couple of these. Oh, these are going into the... Okay, so another thing I set up was from the mob farm, I get the loot crates, and from the loot crates, you can get... Speaking of mob farm, I went ahead and attached it to a drawer controller with some of the stuff, but you get these pinkish, purple, magenta loot crates. Inside of these you can get the ender chest. They don't have to make them if you don't have them. I'm still waiting to get my lava infused stone. Nope, no luck there. But once you have those, you can... if you're not familiar with them, they are basically connected to the same color. So this one I have white, white, red, which I have outputting to the back of here, white, white, red. So these two chests are the same inventory, and they export into the drawer controller. That way, whenever I break something down, it'll automatically try to go over here into storage, just to save me a little effort. But now in this case, where we need tin, not gonna work. There we go. So we need... Actually, we need the copper element for this, because you need to put it in the middle to get the dust. And then the same with the tin. And then you should be able to just combine them. That's not enough. We need just a little more. Where'd that go? And might as well just make them all. And then those we can just come up. Alright, so also between episodes, I went ahead and I made a sound muffler. That just makes this mob spawn a whole lot quieter, because if I take this away, you hear it gets a lot noisier, well, when they spawn. Then also, since Apotheosis is in the pack, I went to the Nether. I picked up a bunch of the spawners. This is a Resturbed spawner from Extra Utilities, which you get by using a Drop of Evil on the spawner. And then you can pick those up and put them wherever. So the benefit of the Resturbed is that you can be away from them and they'll still be running. So in this mob farm, basically, there's all your normal vanilla mobs, and then there's also blazes. So I get a bunch of blaze rods. But then, since Apotheosis is in there, you can pick up the other spawners with Silk Touch. So I have a bunch of various mob spawners. Well, Cave Spider and Blaze. And then you can also find spawn eggs, which you can use to change the spawners. Get uses on these. One of them is you can change what gets spawned with a spawn egg. The spawn egg you can get with a capture enchantment, or you can actually just find them in dungeon loot crates chest. So I found it in a spawner inside of the Deep Dark that was branched off of a what do you call it? The mine shaft. Anyways, this is all done. Pull this out. We'll cover that in a minute. Block. There we go. I don't need clay. You can, if you don't have enough clay for this, you don't have to make them. You can, if you have a mob farm, you can get it out of the crates. Okay, clear some of this stuff up. I highly recommend making materials in you and or the armor free version, as they show you a lot of info on all the different types of materials that you can make your gear out of. I was going through that to decide what I'm making armor out of today, now that we're going to have a smeltery going. Alright, now we can actually make the smeltery. Spoilers in that chest, that's the stuff we're using. Oh, we can finally make the faucet. And we should be able to make the controller now. No, no. Why? Why not? What is it? Oh, okay. And then we need 18 bricks. In fact, I'm just going to make them all. And now we have a smeltery. I'm so excited for this. This has been... When I say do a lot of grinding, I did a whole lot, and you'll see in a little bit what I mean. But this has been something I've wanted since like episode 2 or 3. And we'll just do, this is just my normal little setup that I do. Actually, there was more bricks as a reward. Oh, they're the books. Okay, so you don't have to make them. You can get them. Tank goes there. One more. So the taller you make this, the more items you can put in at a time. You don't have to make it too big, or make it as big as you want. I have a lot of stuff to melt down though. I already have my lava from before. I moved it into an iron drum, which these you also get from the mob farm. So if you have a mob farm, there you go. You get quite a bit of useful things. All right, first things first, we need casts. So to make those, we need I'm going to use aluminum brass instead. So you have two options. You can use gold or you can use aluminum brass. And if you use aluminum brass, you only need 1 ingot per cast instead of 2 gold per cast. So it is significantly cheaper, especially since I have more aluminum and copper than I do gold. Aluminum melts nice and quick, so we'll just dump that in first. It's a ratio of 3 to 1, so you need 3 aluminum per 1 copper. Copper takes a minute. So while that's going, I'll show you the other thing I did. Where is it? There we go. Which is I moved some of the sugar cane over to this spot. And I just hooked it all up to pistons. Underneath here are vacuum hoppers connecting to more ender chests. And I have 2 sets of those, so when this poor little one here grows, come on, go ahead. You gonna grow? There, working. Being a pain now. There it goes. No, go faster. It is really not wanting to grow. There. But then it triggers all of them. They all break. Sometimes they get left up here, but that's okay. I don't mind. I put some of the growth accelerators, which you can also get from the mob farm, under here. The tier 2s act as water source, so you can replace the water with them. The tier 1s do not, so I have them in the middle. And basically it's just sitting here producing a bunch of sugarcane. And then with that, come back over. Oh no. That exports into this chest here, which comes out, and it just feeds into this drawer, which I have feeding into this generator, so I have a steady source of unlimited power that I don't have to worry about. Now this is not fast, but I can scale it up if I need to in the future. I can make more sugarcane, and then I can put more furnace generators. I tried the overclock generator, but if you use pretty much any item in the overclock generator, you only get RF, 1 RF per tick that it burns, instead of, you know, quite a bit more. So don't worry about the overclock generators, they're not worth it right now. Okay. Turn on. That's still alloying, but basically what you do is, well, you don't do that. I do that because I'll need it, but I have a bunch of items here. All these. Oh, and one more, which I forgot about, so I may not have calculated that in. Put this junk away. So for casts, you just put the item you need. I know we're going to need gear casts, so I just made a stone gear, which is just stone around sticks. So it's pretty cheap. Put the item there. Hit the pour button. It'll go. It'll destroy the item though, so make sure you don't use something important. So I just made a bunch of stone pieces for my armor and a knife. That way I can make them out of metal. And then the rest, I made so many because if you look at reinforcements, you need some sort of cast. Same with the resistance and the fire resistance. And the resistance and fire resistance, they stack up to 8 per piece. So you're going to need at least 32 for that. Then you're going to need 5 reinforcement per item that you want to make unbreakable. I did it. So you need a lot, which is what I have set up over here, which we'll get to in a moment. So I'm going to pause here, and I miscalculated aluminum by 1. Or I just misclicked when getting it. Anyways, I'll be back in a minute after I pour out all these blank casts, which I'll need for upgrading armor. So I'll see you in a moment. And we're back. I went ahead and made transfer nodes, both item and fluid. They're the same recipe as normal, so they are relatively easy. Just stone, glass, redstone, and then chest or a bucket. And then you can automate your smeltery so it outputs into the chest. The transfer nodes adhere to redstone control, so you can turn it off by giving it a redstone signal, which will be needed in this case. I went ahead and made up the gears we'll need, all the parts for my armor. So the last thing we need is luminous. Lumium. There we go. Which is alloying tin, silver, and energized glowstone. Now, I don't know if this is intended in this pack or not, but usually energized glowstone you can get by throwing glowstone dust or glowstone blocks into the smeltery. That's not the case here. You need machines to do that, which that's normal. A magma crucible, you can usually do that too. Now the problem is you need the energized glowstone to make the machines. So the best way I found to get it is go to the nether, search around by the big lava pools, and you'll see those you'll see it float up. I think I found that in episode 2 or so when I went to the nether the first time. So I went ahead and grabbed that and found some more. Basically, make sure that this is also can alloy together. And now to get these in there, hold the bucket and right click the drain, and it'll put whatever was in that bucket into the refinery, or the smeltery. There we go. And now once this finishes, it should start alloying together. There it is. Now you can turn the lever back, it'll start making the gears. That takes a while, and then it'll output them to the chest. But before that, let's move on to some of this stuff. I have all these blank casts. Obsidian plus blank cast is a reinforcement modifier. I need that many worth. So seven items is what I'm doing. Then for this one's expensive. I'm not gonna lie, it took a while to get. I would suggest doing a mixture of going mining in the deep dark and breaking down some beetroot just whenever you get bored of one or the other, and just grind out a ton of iron. It takes a while, but you need blocks of iron, and then it's just that'll get you resistance. Lastly, blaze powder. Like I said, I got the blaze spawner from the nether, so I have a ton of blaze rods from in my farm now, and that'll get you fire resistance. There we go. So these are all the modifiers I'm going to add to the armor. Before adding them though, oh, okay, that's right. So when I said I went grinding like crazy, I meant it. So I have 8 modifiers on the parts I didn't get the gadgets for, so 7 or 8 modifiers. Stand on the cactus for a long time. I made a bunch of pizza, stood on the cactus, held right click. When the durability got low, I came and repaired it. I did the same for my Shuriken. I wanted one more modifier, but 64,000 is a lot of experience to get. For that, I came over here to my mob farm. I built a little tunnel here just so it's a little darker. That's the wrong pickaxe. I broke this, and as the mobs kept spawning, I just kept shooting them. It's not quick, but it's easy. And that's how I got that up over time. Sword, I only got up a little bit. I got it up one level, almost two. I put a diamond on there. So overall, let's swap out the armor. Actually, let's upgrade the boots. 2 pistons will get you high stride, which is step assist. Another one will get you a 2nd level. So if you put, they both take modifiers. You put those on, you should be able to walk up 2 blocks. So it's just going to make traveling around a lot easier. I love step assist. Some people don't. If you don't like it, don't use it. But it's nice for me. Okay, so here's what I picked out for now. We have Manulin for the core pieces, which gives Vengeful. So if I get hit, they're going to take damage. Got Cobalt, which gives lightweight, which means I have speed. Haste, not haste, it's movement speed. And then Lead, which gets you heavy and shielding, which basically shielding isn't going to help. But heavy, you don't get knocked back as much. So that's the basic armor I'm going to use for now. Oh, wrong piece. And now, normally, what else I would do is put on embroidal, what is it? Materials. I don't think I can do this right now until we get into deep mob learning. But if we go to the back here, there, embossment. You can take any other piece of gear, any other type of material. It can be any of the 3 parts. I usually use trim because it's the cheapest. And then slime crystals of each type. And then a gold block. And what that will do is, if you say, like, let's just look at one. Trim. So say we put sure, netherrack. Say we put netherrack trim on there. We embossed it with netherrack trim. We would get the infernal property, but we would still keep the heavy shielding property. So it just adds the property of the material to it. So you get an extra material type. Usually what I do that with is night slime, which is invigorating, which gives you extra hearts. Can't do it yet, so I'm going to hold off. And then basically all I'm going to do now is put, oh, actually before that, the Shuriken, I have 4 types of materials. I'm going to replace the stone with Manulin, which means it'll do extra damage to targets at full health. Now when you do this, be careful that you pick the correct one. See, this is, it kept the stone, it got rid of the cactus. So you might have to play around. It goes in a circle with skipping one of them. One of them does the same thing. But this is the one I want. And then I'm going to take that, since it has jagged. Jagged does extra damage based off of durability. So before I make it unbreakable, I'm going to reduce the ammo to 1. That's the armor forge. And now the jagged damage is even higher. So I don't know if you can. No, not really. Now it's unbreakable, so I can shoot it as many times. I can just hold right click now. It'll never go away. So I have a permanent ranged weapon that does a lot of damage. So I'm going to go ahead and add all these modifiers to armor, and then I'll be back in a moment. And we're back. I put all the modifiers on, except I realized I did not level up this other pickaxe enough to make it unbreakable, which is fine. I have 2 sets of luck, one for the pickaxe, one for the sword. That's a massive grind in itself, because that's 360 lapis that you need to get to luck 3 or looting 3. So I made a lapis cheat sheet up for you just so you can see. So you need these ingredients. You need sodium, calcium, aluminum, sulfur, silicon, and oxygen to make lapis. Seen here. The easiest way I found to do it is grind out some salt to get your sodium. Bone will get calcium. Black antimatter will get you aluminum. Yellow will get you sulfur if you don't have enough from netherrack already. Cobblestone, I use quadruple because it's a lot faster, will get you the silicon dioxide, which you can break down for silicon. And if by chance you don't get enough oxygen from the bone, because if you break that down, you get enough for 1 run. You get 26 oxygen. You can break down sugarcane, and that'll get you the oxygen. And that'll, if you grind that out for a while, you'll have enough to get luck 3 and on both pieces of gear. Otherwise, you can grind it even slower by just using them, and it'll go up over time after you put 1 modifier on there. So the other thing I wanted to do was a gauntlet. This is a Constructs Armory thing. You make a gauntlet, and with this, you can make it into different types. My favorite is the Gauntlet of Power. So I'm going to make the Gauntlet of Power. I'm going to throw, this goes on the chest piece. They put it on the chest piece. It takes a modifier up. But now it basically increases your melee damage there. So now if I put all the armor on, we have a slight bit of haste. It's 20% movement speed. We have basically protection 4 equivalents, I think, on 3 of the pieces, then fire protection 4 on the other piece. I put that on the boots. You can see that. And then we have really good weapons, really good armor. So now if something hits us, it's going to take a massive amount of damage by itself. Now, that part's out of the way. We're running low on time, but I kind of wanted to get into the machine part of things. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're done here. For the machines, you need a bunch of these different ingots. So I just made a quick little guide here. If you're running low on any parts, magnesium you get from the salt, thallium is soul sand, potassium is just potatoes. Arsenic was not the quickest to discover. Basically, if you just take beetroot and bone meal, make pink dye, you break that down, you get the arsenic sulfide. Break that down, you get arsenic. You need that to make the induction smelter. And then indium and scandium. No. Yes. Scandium is just yellow. Indium is you take quartz, that'll get you barium, which will get you cyan antimatter, which will get you the indium. Silicon dioxide you convert into diorite. Make sure you convert it into polished diorite for the better rates, because the rates are different. Because osmium is the hardest thing to get, because there is no nice way of getting it except diorite. So make sure to get it from the polished instead of the regular, because it's 3% higher. And you'll also get manganese from that. So if you're having a hard time figuring out which ones to get, these are all the ones you can. And that's all these ingots. I think it's I don't even know. Copper. There we go. It's just actually, yeah. Quest. Give me 2 of these. Pull these down. Is there a quest for that? There is, but I need yellow antimatter. Yellow is sulfur. Good, good. Should be able to make, nope, cyan. That just said. I did not actually intend to do this. I didn't make these antimatters. That. Now we can make machine frames. And we can make all of these. Compactor. The little planty guy. Pulverizer. And the induction smelter. There we go, just like that we have all of those. And then, I'm not going to go this route. I'll show you the route I'll go. Well, I'll probably go. I want to get to the point. This stuff. There. I just want to get to these submission quests so I could do those in between episodes. The route I'm going to go is extra utilities, I think. Which I made all this stuff up. Antimony is made with dye. It was light blue dye, so just a piece of lapis and a piece of bone meal. And that's the hardest part there. I wanted to make a resonator, which you need a couple of these guys. Yeah, sure, good enough. You need a block of coal, put it down, you take the redstone and you hit it. Like you just attack it and that'll get you the soot covered redstone. I'll get your resonator. Need a manual mill. You know how to make those. So what I'm going to end up doing between episodes is making a bunch of water mills. Actually, yeah. Maybe I'll just do it real quick since we're already over time. What's a little extra? To do these, you put in the polished stone here. You just need to right click on this once, and as long as you're looking at it, it'll keep going for you. So I'll be back in a moment. And we're back. I finished up turning in the polished stone to the sunburnt stone, which what that'll let us do is make water mills. My favorite source of extra utils GP. And then, so this is the route I intend to try, is using transfer nodes with a mining upgrade to move water to wherever, to tanks or something. The other route works too. I already have a spot set up. Find my glider. Oh, that failed. So down under here, here's a general setup where you can replace any of these light gray antimatter blocks with water mills, and then that'll get you decent power per. Oh. So the way these work is, as long as you have a running stream of water next to each side, of the water mill, then each side can generate 4 grid power, making the total block generate 16 grid power. There we go. So I have room to expand them if I need. I'm just getting these into place now. As you can see, I have too much power, so you lose a little bit if you go too high. I'm just getting them into place now because I intend to make an angel ring in the future to fly with. And that'll let me put speed upgrades in the mob farm, stack upgrades, and transferring items and stuff, so it's useful to have. And that's pretty much it. I think that's everything. All the extra util stuff. So if you're not familiar with grid power, I don't know if I have any speed upgrades. No, not from that. But basically, you could put speed upgrades in, and then they have that power penalty of 1 GP. It goes up the more you put in there. It basically means if your grid power, you hover over any machine, you'll see it. Your grid power usage, which is 0 right now, exceeds your total, which is 53.33, and all the extra utilities machines will shut off. So to get started, use the manual mill, which generates 15 as long as you're right clicking it, and then you just upgrade to either solar, water, whatever you like. I like water, so that's what I use. You can use fire also, but that's just a quick brief explanation for it. So we'll need that in place for angel ring, which takes like 30 GP, 32, and then for upgrades. But that's about it for this episode. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.